Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else. This is John Paval with an Access Arts Live special report on the opening session of the finals of the Chopin International Piano Competition, which will start this evening, Saturday, October 18th at 6 o'clock in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, and 2 o'clock in the morning, late night down under in Australia. And there will be people tuning in to that live stream from Australia. It's live streamed graciously, free of charge, by the Chopin Institute in Warsaw. It takes place in Warsaw. The Warsaw Philharmonic is involved in the finals. So this is a big deal. And people, they have tens of thousands, up towards almost 30,000 live viewers of their live stream. The chat box is filled with fans and critics and musicological experts and people who think they're musicological experts, chiming in and cheering on their favorites and bemoaning the losses of their favorites and not understanding why some of their non-favorites made it through and their favorites didn't. It's one of the most exciting times of the year, or every 5 years, for piano enthusiasts. And the Chopin International Competition is right up there. It's one of the tops. Now, I want to give you a little bit of background information about the 4 finalists who will be starting out. The finals are going to go for 3 days. There'll be 4 finalists today, tonight in Warsaw. There'll be another 4 tomorrow, Sunday the 19th, and another 3 on Monday. So I will plan on doing a brief live stream like this for each of these days to give you some background on the individual players. I do not pretend or presume to be a musicologist or to give you expert commentary on who I think is going to win or who I don't think is going to win. But I will say that on Thursday, when I put together I think I did a brief live stream talking about Thursday's semifinal. When I looked at the 4 contestants, I said, "Oh, all 4 of these are very likely to end up in the finals," and all 4 of them did. So, having said that, let me take you through today's finalists, who are Tianyou Li from China, Eric Liu from the U.S., Tianyao Lyu from China. She's very young, 16, 17-year-old, the youngest in this competition, and Vincent Ong from Malaysia, who he has not been talked up as much as some of the other contestants, but once you reach this final stage, you don't know how it's going to come out. It is not necessarily that the most experienced finalists are even going to make it this far. Diana Cooper, who's a marvelous pianist, which with a fair amount of performing experience already under her belt, didn't make it past the first round. And Garrick Olson, who's the chairman of the jury, at the end of the first round, when they were announcing the results, he said it flat out. He said, there are people that I wanted to get through to the second round, and they didn't make it. So there's a very low predictability factor here. Having said all of that, and I say all of that because I don't expect that many of the people that follow Access Arts Live are necessarily the piano enthusiasts that know everything I've already said. So this is for those of you who aren't. So to clue you in a little bit about who these different people are. So let me clear up my notes for you. I don't have this all memorized, I'm just a guy. But anyway, so we start out with the first, which is Tianyou Li. And I give you 2 photographs of each of these contestants. I give you on the left the photograph they put up for the contest, which shows, well, this is what I look like wearing a black sweater. And then I give you a photograph showing them actually at the piano, which I think is the way that we want to see them, I'm sure they're all very sympathetic, interesting people as persons, but it's as pianists that we're really interested, right, folks? Okay, now, before I say anything else, I'm still not getting down to the contestants. All of the contestants will be playing two pieces, a Polonaise by Chopin, the Polonaise Fantasy in A flat major, Opus 61, and they'll be playing a piano concerto. And tonight's contestants, three of them are playing the piano concerto in E minor, Opus 11, and one of them, Eric Liu, will be playing the piano concerto in F minor, Opus 21. If you go to the competition website, you can find long, detailed musicological analyses of each of these pieces, but I'm not going to presume or pretend that I master that kind of information. So let's talk about Tianyou Li of China, who's fairly young, 21 years old, has chosen to play a Steinway piano, will be up first at 6 o'clock in the evening. He is still a student at the Tianjin Conservatory of Music, which I believe works together with Juilliard. And his claim to fame are he won the first prize and the Bach Prize in the Singapore International Piano Competition. He won first prize in the Zhuhai Mozart International Competition, second prize in the Steinway and Sons Competition, and third prize in the Chopin Beijing International Competition for young pianist. So, and he has done already some performing at different locations, we're told, at the Haydn Hall in Vienna, at the Tianjin Juilliard Concert Hall, and the Tianjin Grand Theater, and also at the Kammermusik Saal in Berlin, which I think that's the one that's overseen by Daniel Barenboim, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, and he's played with some symphony orchestras in China, we are not told which, and with the German Symphony Orchestra in Berlin. He was in the same semifinal as Shiori Kurohawa, who also made it through, and as Hyo and Hyuk Lee, who, to the great disappointment of many fans, they did not make it through to the finals. So that's the first contestant to tune into. Then coming up after that, the second contestant will be at 9 o'clock. I want to give you a little background on him. Now, this is a guy who you would think would be one of the favorites. Nobody's surprised that he's in the finals. This is Eric Liu from the U.S. He's one of the older and much more experienced contestants, born in 1997. So he's, about 20? He's in his late 20s by now. Went to the Curtis Institute. His claim to fame, in the listing of his awards, but I already knew this, but his claim to fame is he won the Leeds International Piano Competition in 2018. Leeds is up there, as one of the top piano competitions in the world as well. If you've won that, you don't have to list any others. Just as anybody who wins this Chopin competition, they don't really have to list any other awards. These are career-making awards, for those of you who don't know it. And he's already performed with, I'll give you the list of the orchestras he's performed with: Boston, London, Chicago, Tokyo, Finnish Radio, Shanghai Symphony, the LA Phil, the Oslo Phil, Luxembourg, the Stockholm Royal Phil, the Warsaw Philharmonic. And he's given recitals at places like Wigmore Hall, and on that level, I won't give you the whole list of that. And he's performed. He's already got 2 albums out on the Warner Classics label, recordings of music, which include music by Chopin, but also Schubert, Schumann, and Brahms. I mean, this guy's a heavy hitter. He's chosen to play a Fazioli piano, which is what he also chose to play in the semifinals. But if you're asking yourself, well, who should I really tune in to hear if I'm not going to spend 4, hours listening to all of it? Well, Eric Liu is somebody that you shouldn't miss. I mean, Eric Liu is a great concert regardless. And the difference between these people that have the performance skills is that they play a concert. And we saw that in a competition earlier this year. The ones who've already won their spurs and are out there performing, they're going to come out and they're going to perform. And some of those who are younger and still competing, they're just going to try to play as well as possible, which is good, and they can do very well. But it's a different stage of maturity and experience. Anyway, and now, so having said that, let's now talk about the youngest phenomenon of this particular. By the way, Eric Liu was one of that gang of four on Thursday night in that semifinal. I said, yeah, of course, he's going to make the finals. Well, not of course, but highly likely. Okay, this is the 16, 17-year-old Tianyao Lyu, born in 2008, playing a Fazioli piano. She's a student still at the Poznania Academy. Poznania is a town in western Poland where some of my ancestors came from, as a matter of fact, back in the 1800s. She has won a couple of prizes, first prize in the 19th International Ettlingen Competition just last year, and in the International Chopin Competition in Zafarnia, Poland. Before she was at the Poznania Academy, she was studying at the Central Conservatory of Music in Beijing. She's performed with the Salzburg Chamber Soloist, the Ningbo Symphony Orchestra, and she lists having performed at the Carnegie Hall and the National Center for Performing Arts in Beijing. Very young. The judges like her an awful lot. Everybody likes her an awful lot, but she doesn't have the seasoning that some of these other competitors have. So we'll see. But if you tuned in for Eric Liu and her, you'd be bracketing your evening, seeing probably the most accomplished and then the youngest, the least accomplished of the two contestants. You can see the difference. Okay. And so then there's one more, and he hasn't been talked about as much and hasn't received as much of the, expectations as an Eric Liu, for instance. But it's Vincent Ong from Malaysia, and he's got all kinds of fans in the chat box. I'll tell you that. He's about 24 years old. He'll be playing last, that's at 9:20, playing on a Shigeru Kawai piano. He's still studying, I think, at the Hochschule für Musik Hans Eisler in Berlin, and has the claim to fame of having won the International Robert Schumann competition in 2024. He's won some other, back in 2019, he won the Taipei Maestro Piano Festival. And he lists as an accomplishment 6th prize in the Singapore International Piano Competition in 2020. He's received a number of scholarships along the way. He was in but he doesn't have any listings of performance experience. He was with Miyu Shindu in the semis, and in the same grouping as the two Poles, who, to the great disappointment of a lot of people, Piotr Pawlak and Yehudi Prokopovich, they didn't make it through to the finals. So that's what you have coming up for you this evening, folks. I don't, any comments I make about who I think should or should not win, do not take them seriously. I am not a musicological expert or a piano expert, but I hope this kind of background information might, give you an idea of, who these players are and the accomplishments that they already have, in addition to the fact that making it to these finals, that's an accomplishment. But also, if you win one of the top prizes, or if you win the top prize here, it's a career-making achievement. It leads to follow-up concerts, and it's you have a career to lose after that. In that sense, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't screw up after that, you have a career as a soloist, which is okay. Folks, that's all I have for you now. We'll be putting out a few other clips about some of the symphonic stuff that's going on tonight, because Hélène Grimaud is performing with the Houston Symphony later today. And she is, as a pianist, well, she's like, I don't know a better pianist than her. She's just absolutely wonderful. And I'll talk about that in the clip that I put out. But so that's it for now. That's starting in just about 3 hours time. And look for Access Arts Live in the chat box. I don't know if I'll be able to be watching through the whole thing, but I will certainly be there for Eric Liu and for Tianyao Lyu, because the comparison between the two of them, I think, will be fascinating. Ciao for now. Thanks for those of you who tuned in, and do feel free, if you do watch, to come back to the recording of this live stream and give us your comments on what you thought about the competition tonight. And I'll be back tomorrow with another live stream to let you know all about the players in tomorrow's competition.